Welcome back to Going Solo. I'm Rick, and this week we are continuing with Dr. Fright at the Carnival of Blood. You'll notice that I do have a little bit different of a setup here. I'm trying this out, bringing everything closer so that hopefully both you and I can see better. I've got my tableau off to the side because that's really not something you need to see as I'm playing the game. But let's go ahead and jump into the special rules. With the Carnival of Blood, there are trap cards mixed in with the terror and item cards. If a trap card is revealed from the item deck, even if it is part of a reveal 2 and pick one, I just pick the other item and the trap still takes effect. So we'll move over to Dr. Fright. With Dr. Fright, you can't attack him while you are awake. You can do everything else normally while you're awake, but you can't attack him and he can't attack you. You go to sleep by using either a short rest or long rest card, or sometimes the terror cards will put you to sleep. And once you're asleep, victims will no longer follow you, and you can't save victims, but you can attack and be attacked by Dr. Fright. When you go to sleep, at the end of each killer phase, you resolve a boiler room card by sliding this up, down, left, or right. And if Dr. Fright is in the half or quarter of the card that you reveal, he attacks. And once you've gone through all 4 of the boiler room cards, you wake up. I believe that's all of the rules for Dr. Fright. So, we do have a couple of scenario special rules. In this case, we actually start asleep. So we'll go ahead and show you how that works. We take the awake card, we turn it over. Actually, we just take the awake card and put it on the bottom of the deck, flip the entire deck over, and it is ready. So we start this scenario asleep, so we can't save victims, but we can attack and be attacked. And there's also a special scenario or special event rule for our starting event card, which we will talk about once we reveal it. Our final girl tonight is Sheila. She has 6 victims that she needs to save in order to unlock her special ability. So, let's go ahead and jump in. When her parents were killed that fateful day on Maple Lane, Sheila vowed to leave and never return. She left Spring Hill forever. She joined a traveling carnival. She loved always being on the move, and she found herself oddly at home with the odd cast of characters. They loved her too, and soon she found herself as the attraction manager of the Things to Astonish Museum. The smallest girl in the world, the hairiest man in the world, and all of the animals were under her guidance and direction. She was enjoying the carnival life and rarely thought about Maple Lane and the horror she had barely survived. She had killed Dr. Fright, or so she thought. When Sheila landed the final blow on Dr. Fright, as in life, he made a last-ditch effort to avoid death. He exploded into a black sludge of dream ooze and landed on the floor of the boiler room. Perhaps, he thought, over time he would regain enough strength to once again terrorize the unsuspecting dreamer. In fact, he recovered quite quickly and began tracking down the Maple Lane survivors. But he was never able to find Sheila. Until now. Okay. As always, we start the game with our 6 zero-cost cards. We are asleep, and we need to draw our starting event. And our starting event is the full moon. The victim farthest from you is the world's hairiest man, and is actually a werewolf. The werewolf will not follow you and cannot be targeted, saved, or killed. During upkeep, panic the werewolf. Then he does 2 damage to 1 target in his space, according to the following priority: victim, you, minion, killer. So that is our That is our starting event. Now, the special rule with the starting event is that rather than replacing the farthest victim, we don't replace any victims, and the werewolf just starts in our space. And each upkeep phase, he will move and do damage. So, now we can go ahead and get started. So, we are asleep right now, so getting some weapons would be helpful. So I think I'm going to try... Let's see, the House of Mirrors is way over here. Forest of Horrors is way over here. I'm at the Things to Astonish, which has a knife bandolier. So I think I'm going to try to get that knife bandolier. And perhaps with that, I can do some damage before I wake up. But until then, let's go ahead and do a focus. Ooh, a double success. I like those. So we gain 2 time. And we'll just discard over here. We'll do another focus since we got so much time there. 1 success. So we still lose 1. But our horror level does go down another notch. Let's see, all I've got left is short rest, weak attack, and walk, none of which I really want to use right now, because I kind of want to stay here so that I can get the knife bandolier on my next turn. So, that's everything. And now we are in our planning phase where we can buy things. So let's see, we've got 7 time. I am going to buy a search card for 2. I'm going to buy a sprint card so I can move around more quickly. And I'm going to buy a distraction card so that I can try to get the time or the horror level down more. The 2 focus cards we used go back over here in our tableau. And it is now Dr. Fright's turn. So, Dr. Fright's normal action is that he can target someone in his space and attack. Right now, there's no one in his space, so we will take the first terror card. Never sleep again. Horror level goes up 1. You fall asleep. I'm already asleep. If you were already asleep, you may reset the boiler room deck. There's no need to. It's already at its reset status. If you do not resolve 1 additional boiler room card at the end of the killer phase. Okay, so I'm going to have to resolve 2 boiler room cards at the end of the killer phase because I could not reset the boiler room deck. It was already reset. Okay. So now it's the end of the killer phase. We have to resolve a boiler room card. This is another reason that I like this setup, is that I don't have to keep switching the camera around for this part. Let's see here. I think I'm going to slide left. Alright, and there is no Dr. Fright, which means I am safe for this round. Well, nope, because I got to resolve 1 more. Let's see, there wasn't one in either of those. So sliding left again is probably not the best idea, because there's a 2/3 chance that sliding left again would reveal Dr. Fright. Of course, there's also a 2/3 chance that sliding down would, and a 2/3 chance that sliding up would. So, we are pretty much at the same situation either way. Let's try sliding down. Oh, and there we have Dr. Fright. Alright, so we do, he does get to attack, which means we lose 1 health. Because he is at 1 health at the moment. Okay. Alright, so moving on. Now it is the panic phase. Nobody needs to panic. And now we're at the upkeep phase where the werewolf panics. So let's see where the werewolf panics to. Hopefully either 1 or 6. 5. So the werewolf goes up here and attacks. Which means horror level goes up 1 more. Which means I can't get it down to 3 dice this round. But it is what it is, and I guess that prevented it from going way up. So, now we are back to my turn. Alright, so we will start with our distraction. And I'm going to discard a short rest and weak attack to turn this into a success so that I can lower the horror level. Alright. Then I'm going to search. Okay. I definitely don't want the horror level to go up anymore. So I'm going to discard my walk cards to turn one of these into a success. So that I can take the top item card while only losing 1 time, which is what I just gained. So, I will take the knife bandolier. So I can throw a knife from a space away. When using the knife bandolier, you may divide the damage as you choose between any enemies within range. Well, that's nice. But, I mean, there's only really 1 enemy, so. And it does add an extra damage. So, do I want to use my sprint card? I don't, because... Yeah, I don't think I do. I don't think I want to use my sprint card. So we will go ahead and move on to the planning phase where I buy, let's see, I've got 6 points. I'll buy a second sprint card for 2. I'll buy a distraction for 3. I'll take my 2 zero cost. And I will buy a close call for 1. So that still keeps us within our 10-hand limit. And then these cards can go back into the tableau. Okay. Now it is Dr. Fright's turn again. Of course, there's still nobody in his space for him to attack. So, we draw another tarot card. OMG, he's slicing his own fingers. So he targets either victim or final girl, which there's victims closer to him. It's between me and victims that are closest. So he's going to go for the victims. He only gets 1 space of movement though, but he gets to move twice. So he would be able to get here. Dr. Fright takes 1 damage unless he only has a final health token remaining. So he does take 1 damage. If Dr. Fright took damage, increase horror by 3. You and all victims in his space panic. So, the 2 victims in his space panic. A 5 and a 6. Let's see. That means one of them goes up here, one of them goes down here. Okay. That was not a great turn. Horror went way up, meaning that I won't be able to get my 3rd dice again this round. But we'll see what I can do. Okay. So, that is Dr. Fright's turn. So we do another boiler room card. Let's see, he was on the left, top left last time. So if I slide left, I know he's not going to be there. So I'll just do that. All right. Okay, yes. So, moving on. Panic phase. There's nobody that needs to panic. And upkeep phase, there is a werewolf. So that's 3. Which means he moves here. Which is great, because that means he does 2 damage to Dr. Fright. Love to see that. I might actually be able to win this one. Okay. And with that, we are back to my turn. So, let's start off by getting that horror level down, because it's way too close to taking a dice away from me. So we'll start with this distraction. 2 successes. Excellent. So I gained 2 time and health, or horror went down 2. We're going to do a focus. 1 success. I lose a time. And the other focus. Ooh, no successes. I think I'm just going to use my close call to re-roll one of those. Still a partial. Okay, so I lose 2 time and I only rolled 1, so I lose 2 time. And then I'm still asleep this round, so I'm going to... No, I don't have an attack card. Okay. So let's see. If I can get over to the House of Mirrors, I might be able to pick up that throwing axe, which might come in handy. And then Zappo can protect me from traps. So either one of those would be good. I'm 3 spaces away from both of them. So let's just go ahead and do a sprint. 2 successes. That's 3 spaces. So do I want to go for the axe or for Zappo? I think I'm going to go for the axe. 1, 2, 3. Okay. The other sprint card I will save. And then these can get discarded. Alright, so I've got 4 time left. I will take a distraction for 3 points. I will take the other close call for 1 point. And I will take my 0 cost. And of course, all of these go back in the tableau. All right. We are back to Dr. Fright again. Only person in his space is the werewolf, and he can't attack the werewolf. So there's nobody for him to attack. We draw a terror card. I'm all wrapped up and can't get free. He targets the final girl, moves, and attacks. So he is targeting me this time. He moves and attacks. Since I'm his target, that will be 1 damage to me. Okay. Place the rope trap token in your space. Immediately apply the trap's effects. Here's the rope trap token. It's in this space, my space. I came over here to get the axe and didn't even buy a search card. Okay. Alright. Well, regardless. So he's in my space. Rope trap token has been deployed. Apply. Let's see here. Rope trap. Discard 1 action card at random. Alright, so let's shuffle these up a little bit. So it's truly random. And I'm going to discard this one. Walk. If a walk or sprint card was discarded, increase the horror level by 2. I am destined to not get a 3rd dice, apparently. Okay. And that happens anytime I come back into this space as well. So. Whenever a terror trap card comes into play from the terror deck, place the appropriate token on the space. The trap immediately takes effects for you and all victims in the space. Anytime a victim enters or is in a space with a trap token, they are killed. Okay, so this victim would have been killed then. Let's see. Anytime a victim enters or is in a space with a trap token, they are killed. Whenever you enter or are in a trap space with a trap token, suffer the following effects. Okay. Alright, so that was the killer phase. So we have to address another card here. We can either slide down or we can slide left again. We've seen one at the top. We've also seen one on the left. I think I'm going to slide it down this time. And that was the wrong choice, because we have Dr. Fright right there. So, that is 2 health from me this time, because he is up to 2 health now. Alright, so now we shuffle these. And I am now awake. Okay. And it is my turn. So, let's go ahead and do the distraction. Try to get the horror level down. 1 success. Alright. I can't attack anymore because I'm awake now. So let's do a sprint. One success. I kind of want to keep my weak attack. Or no, my short rest, because... But if I save victims, which I could not do, I could get 1 space away from being able to save some. And I've got a walk card. Okay. So I'm going to discard my weak attack and short rest to make this other one a success, so that I get to move 3 spaces. 1, 2, do I want to save 1 victim here, or do I want to move down here and save 2? I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll move down here so I can save 2. Alright. So that's my sprint. Let's go ahead and walk. Ooh, no successes. So if I sacrifice a health, I can still move 1 space. I lose 2 time either way. If I sacrifice a health, I can still move 1 space, which would allow me to save 2 victims. Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to sacrifice my health to come over here, save 2 victims, which gives me 2 health back. And I can do something else as well. I'm thinking either gain 2 time or lower the horror level. Horror level's at 4 right now, which is its starting value. If I gain 2 time, I could get a distraction card, which would possibly let me lower the horror level twice. Let's do that. I'll gain 2 time. Alright. And that's my turn. So, let's buy some cards. I've got 7 points. I'm going to buy a distraction for 3. Going to buy a search in case I get somewhere to search. And with 2 left, I'm going to buy a sprint. Let's see, these need to go back. Oh. I actually could have gotten focus cards back. I believe that was all that was there. Okay. Okay, so we are at the killer phase. So there's nobody in his space for him to attack, so we do a terror card. Misty Ambush. All victims at or adjacent to the Forest of Horrors, panic. Forest of Horrors are here, so that would be 5. These 5 panic. For any ones rolled, the victim is killed. So let's start up here, and let's hope we don't roll any 1s. Alright, that's 2 6s. So these guys go up here. A 2 and a 3. So 1 goes over here, 1 goes over here, and then a 4. 1 goes over here. So no victims was killed. No victims were killed. If at least 1 victim is killed, horror goes up. If no victims were killed, resolve the next terror card. Hellish Pursuit. So this means while asleep, you must resolve 1 additional boiler room card at the end of the killer phase. If able. Okay. And that gets 2 health on it, so Dr. Fright has 2 additional health right now. Alright. Let's see. Nobody was killed, so there's no panic. And now we're at upkeep, which means the werewolf panics. With a 5. 5 means he goes down here. I was hoping he'd go over to the killer. Okay. We are back to me. Start with distraction. Seriously? Okay. You know what? Let's just sacrifice the 2 time to roll that again. 1 success. I can live with that. And I gain 1 time back. Then we're going to focus. No successes. Okay. We're just going to deal with it. Because I don't want to get rid of any of my cards. And then I'm going to sprint. Oh, geez. Okay. I don't really want to give up these cards, but I don't really have a choice. Well, I can't because they're not even like that. Okay. So, regardless, I lose 2 time, which leaves me only with 1, and I lose 1 health. Now, I can move 1 space, but if I do, I also end my turn immediately. Which I'm ending my turn anyway, so doesn't matter. I would move here, but I'm afraid the werewolf will come at me, and then it would, that wouldn't be good for me. And there's really nothing up there for me, except I can get down in here, which that doesn't really help too much. Gets me a little bit closer to them, but let's see, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 1, 2, 3. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to stay where I am. I'm just going to stay where I am. These don't go there yet. So I've got 1 point. So I will take a close call. And my 0 cost. Then these go up. Okay. We are back to Dr. Fright. So there's nobody in his space. Good with that. Resolve a terror card. Slasher. So he targets a victim and attacks. There's nobody in his space for him to attack, so nothing happens there. Then he targets a victim again and moves, which he can move 2 spaces now. He's of course going to move towards the largest group of victims, which is these guys over here. And attack, which increases the horror level. And then any victim that is not in a search space panics. So we will start with these 2 that are in his space. 1 and 4. 1 and 4. This guy down here. 5. 6. 6. Oh wait, no, this one wouldn't have panicked. 3 and 6. So that one's already on an exit space if I could just get over there. Whew, okay. That's the end of the killer phase. I'm still awake, so no boiler room. Nobody's still in the killer space, so no panic there. So now the werewolf moves. And hopefully he gets higher than a 3. 1. So he goes here, attacks. This goes up, which means we go for our dark power. Never really dead. When this card is when this card is revealed, place Dr. Fright's black health token back in the reserve and replace it with a white health token. If Dr. Fright loses his last health, reveal 3 black final health tokens from the reserve pool and restore his health accordingly. Okay. So let's just move the rest of the reserve over here so that it is available. Hopefully when it comes to that, or if it comes to that, I will be able to avoid pulling the hearts. Okay. So that was the werewolf, so that was the upkeep, so we are back to my turn. Alright. So let's go ahead and walk, I guess. Not great. I'll get rid of short rest because I'm not ready to go to sleep, and I'll get rid of weak attack to turn this one into a success so that I can at least move 1 space. Then I'll walk again. And that one's a complete failure. I'll just lose the 2 time because I'm not giving up any of these cards at the moment. And that will end my turn. With 3 points, I'm going to get, let's see, I really should get a sprint. I'll go ahead and take this focus here. And I guess I will take a sprint as well. For 2. And then close call for 1. Alright. Okay. So, back to the killer. Nobody in his space. So we go back to the next terror card. If you are awake, roll a die. If the result is less than the current horror level, you fall asleep. If you are asleep, resolve a boiler room card, and if you take damage, horror goes up. Okay, so I am awake, so we roll a dice. If it is lower than 4, I fall asleep. And it is. It is a 1. So, I fall asleep. So there goes my plan of saving some victims while I was awake. Oh, and he targets and moves. Let's see. This would nope, not that way. Probably this way would be the least advantageous for me because it puts him closer to me. Except that I'm planning on attacking him now that I'm asleep, so probably that way's, either way. Yeah, it's the same either way. Alright, doesn't matter. He can stay there. Alright, so it is the end of the killer's turn, and I have to resolve 2 boiler room cards because of that. So let's do this. Last time we slid down first and it was on the top. So let's go ahead and slide down again. And we're good. Okay, so now sliding down again is probably not a good idea. So it's going to be left or right. Let's slide to the left. Okay, excellent. So no Dr. Fright. So no damage, which would have taken all of my health, so it's a good thing. All right. Now, I can't save victims right now, but if I move over to the Forest of Horrors, I could get Zappo. Not that Zappo's that great of a thing right now. Let's go ahead and give it a shot, though. Of course. Oh, I could use a close call to re-roll the dice, but that could just put me in a worse position because then I have one less card. I'm just going to discard a close call and a focus to turn this into 1 success. So I can move 2 spaces, but I'm only going to move 1. Then I'm going to search. And fail again. You know what? Fine. I get Zappo. So, I may use Zappo to resolve a search card from up to 2 spaces away from a search spot. If you use Zappo and an item trap is revealed, He flees in terror. Ignore the effects of the trap and discard Zappo. Okay, and I've used all my cards. So let's see. Oh, hold on. So first I sprinted. That lost me 1, and then I searched. That lost me another 1. Okay, so I'm down to 4. It's just going to be a search and a sprint then. Along with my 0 cost. The rest of these go back in here. Okay. I'm still asleep, so I can't take victims with me, but if I can get up there, maybe I'll wake up this next round, and then I can take these victims with me up there, and hopefully save these 4 that are right there with me. We'll see. But for right now, it is Dr. Fright's turn. So he attacks. Bloodlust goes up. Then he takes a terror card. Better stay up late. If you are awake, -1 dice for horror rolls during the next action phase. I'm asleep, so if you are asleep, immediate resolve all remaining boiler room cards. Okay, I guess I'm waking up now then. Alright, so let's see. I've seen 2 of these without a Dr. Fright. So sliding left has a higher chance of revealing Dr. Fright. If I slide up, I only reveal 1 spot. But I haven't seen Dr. Fright in that spot yet, so it could very well be Dr. Fright in that spot. But it would only reveal 1. So I think I'm going to do that. Come on. Whew. Yay. Okay. No Dr. Fright. And then I've got to resolve the last one. I think it's going to have to be... It's either going to have to be a slide left or a slide up. I've revealed 2. Let's slide left. And of course, whichever way I had gone, Dr. Fright is right there. So that is, let's see, 2 points of damage. And that's the game. So, this has been Dr. Fright at the Carnival of Blood. Thank you for watching.